more photos. I put the photos in. I don't remember what this photo is about.
Oh, it's the nurse, the OBGYNs.
Yes. Oh my god, yes.
It's the OBGYNs.
Okay, and then the Grey Cup.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna like frame. Apparently the framing was off.
For me?
For you and Alette, when you guys were like switching between, so I'm gonna have to like figure out how to do this.
Do you want me to sit?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, please. Oh, fuck. Like, I move a tiny bit and it moves a shit ton. Oh my god, that is so fucking bad. Stop doing that. Okay, I think this is good, right? Okay, and then the other cam. Does that look okay from your screen? Does that look okay from your screen?
This camera, that one there looks fine.
The first one?
But it's this one here.
Okay, this is so hard to use. I move it a tiny ass a little bit and it moves
And it moves like a shit ton, yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, why should I move it up, right? My thing is it doesn't zoom out. It only moves up and down and left
There's
and right.
gotta be a way to zoom it out.
The British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
A very good afternoon to all. My name is Gabe Liesi. Glad you're wrapping up the workday with BCIT's The Crow. Let's start with more updates to the tentative agreement reached between the BC government and the BC General Employees Union. Our very own reporter Patrick McConnell has more.
6 industry associations impacted by the BC General Employees Union strike estimate that $250 million in liquor sales may have been lost. In a collective statement, the associations said that BC's hospitality industry is not a bargaining chip. But Lamb says the strike might be a positive for local breweries and distilleries.
Finally, the public is getting exposed to just the beautiful cornucopia of product and supply that we have in BC.
BC General Employees Union and the government have announced a tentative agreement, but have yet to release a ratified deal. Patrick McConnell, BCIT News.
Some reaction now to the tentative end of the BCGEU strike. BC Premier David Eby is grateful that a deal has been reached with striking public service workers. Eby says the strike has been a challenging time for many people in the province, especially BC's hospitality industry. He says he looks forward to seeing the results of a vote by members of the union. Also, the head of the BC Restaurant and Food Services Association welcomes the news of a tentative deal between the public service workers and the province after a stressful couple months for the industry. Ian Tostenson says many bars and restaurants struggled as their liquor stocks dwindled under a strike that halted government liquor distribution. Tostenson says the strike did see local wineries, breweries, and distilleries step up to fill the void.
We have to buy from government liquor stores and warehouses, so there wasn't too many options for the industry, so they ran their stocks down pretty low. I mean, we had great support from the local wineries and distilleries and breweries. That really helped, but now we can round out our offerings, so we're really, really pleased. And we're happy for the BCGU to get back to work too. Good for them.
The BC General Employees Union announced the deal yesterday morning. It includes a 3% wage increase every year for the next 4 years. A membership vote on the agreement is expected in the coming days. Another update to a story from this morning. BC Premier David Eby says his government is not yet done advocating for the family of Bailey McCourt, whose ex-husband has been charged with second-degree murder in her death hours after being released on bail. Eby says he's glad that new legislation tabled last week is addressing some of the issues that came out of the case.
Well, I think it's crucially important, and we've got a good balance, I think, here in Canada, of ensuring that people's rights are protected when they face a criminal trial. We see other countries where it's called a trial, but the decision's made before you walk in the door. That's not what we want here in Canada. And also that we need to ensure that people are safe in their communities.
The legislation toughens sentences for several crimes and expands the burden of proof for bail from the prosecution to the accused, also known as the principle of reverse onus. More news out of Victoria. BC Premier David Eby says the province plans to push ahead with anti-tariff advertisements aimed at the American public. This comes days after U.S. President Donald Trump blamed a campaign by Ontario for his cancellation of trade talks with Canada. BC had announced the ads last week, with Eby saying at the time that they were to defend the province and Canada against the threat from U.S. softwood lumber tariffs. Eby says after the scuttling of the U.S.-Canada trade talks late last week, it remains, quote, crucial to deliver the message about tariffs directly to Americans.
It is absolutely essential that we talk to Americans about the implications of tariffs, about the fact that trade policy in the United States right now is governed not by logic, not by economics, not by relationship, but by something else entirely, and by one individual in the White House.
A spokesman for Eby's office says the timber tariff ads are expected to run in November. An open letter from 130 OBGYNs from across BC has been sent to the Health Minister and Interior Health CEO, warning of untenable and unsafe conditions. They say those conditions are driving the collapse of maternity, gynecology, and women's health services across the interior. The OBGYNs also stated that they will not participate in temporary coverage plans or supervise new hires. A new report finds Canada is not on track to meet its 2030 or 2035 emissions targets. The Trottier Energy Institute at Polytechnique Montreal finds greenhouse gas emissions are projected to fall 20 or 25% below 2005 levels by 2030. That is well below the federal target of a 40 to 45% reduction. The report says emissions from Canada's electricity sector dropped 60% below 2005 levels, but those reductions are being offset by increased oil and gas production. Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew says the search of a Winnipeg landfill for the remains of a woman killed by Jeremy Skibicki could start in December. This comes after the government completed a preliminary test search at the city-run Brady Road landfill for the remains of Ashley Shingoose. The mother was originally from St. Teresa Point First Nation in northern Manitoba. A preliminary search began at the Brady Road landfill in August, using excavators and ground-penetrating radar tests to narrow down the search area. She was one of 4 First Nations women killed by Skibicki in 2022. Kinew says the province has made progress on its effort to locate her.
We're moving ahead to the next steps, which involve hiring the searchers. We've done sort of our preliminary test search already.
The remains of 2 other Skibicki victims, Morgan Harris and Mercedes Myron, were found during a search of another landfill. Skibicki was convicted of first-degree murder in the women's deaths and sentenced last year to life in prison. Let's move to sports now. The Toronto Blue Jays are in Los Angeles tonight to take on the defending champions Dodgers in Game 3 of the 2025 World Series. The teams split the first 2 games in Toronto, with the Blue Jays winning Game 1 and LA responding by taking Game 2. When the Toronto Blue Jays clinched the trip to the World Series, veteran pitcher Max Scherzer was emotional about getting another chance to play in the Fall Classic. Scherzer will be Toronto's starter tonight when the lights shine bright in Hollywood. He is due to pitch in the World Series for a 4th time. Blue Jays manager John Schneider says that it's been a joy to manage the intense Scherzer, who has earned the nickname Mad Max over his career for his fiery outbursts on and off the field.
He stepped on landmines. He's dodged landmines in a World Series, in a 7-game series. Here's my thought. Here's my feedback. What are you thinking? Okay, when do I throw my side?
The 41-year-old Scherzer said it was awesome when Blue Jays manager John Schneider confirmed that he'd be returning to the mound on the game's biggest stage. Dodger manager Dave Roberts announced that Tyler Glasnow would take the mound in Game 3. Thomas Muller converted a penalty kick, and the Vancouver Whitecaps kicked off their playoff run with a dominant 3-0 victory over FC Dallas. Head coach Jesper Sorensen says his team made changes after falling to Dallas in the final game of the regular season last week.
Good teams and smart guys, they make mistakes, but they have to learn from it. And I think we made some mistakes a week ago, and now we also learned a little bit from it, and I think that we looked very solid.
Dallas will host Game 2 of the best-of-3 first-round series on Saturday. The Vancouver Canucks split a pair of weekend home games against Canadian rivals. The Montreal Canadiens rallied for a 4-3 victory on Saturday afternoon. The comeback win for the Canadiens was punctuated by rookie Ivan Demidov's goal and 2 assists. The Vancouver Canucks got off to a 2-goal lead before Montreal roared back to take it 4-3. Canucks head coach Adam Foote says his team didn't give up much until it took a penalty midway through the second period.
That's how fine the game is when it comes to, to little things like that. But it was a game we had full control of.
The Canucks bounced back with a 4-3 win of their own the very next night. Kiefer Sherwood was the talk of the town last night after scoring twice in the winning effort. The CFL announced today that the 2027 Grey Cup will be held in Regina. Saskatchewan Roughriders president and chief executive officer Craig Reynolds said the winning bid was a collaboration between the team and several partners. League Commissioner Stuart Johnston says the city's staunch support of the Saskatchewan Roughriders makes it the perfect host.
The Roughriders' commitment to excellence on and off the field, their deep community roots, and the unwavering support of their fans make them the perfect host for the league's greatest celebration.
This year's Grey Cup will be held next month in Winnipeg. The Washington Commanders are in Missouri tonight to take on the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium. Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels will not play on Monday night due to a hamstring injury. He was named NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year last year, but has missed a number of games this season due to injury. The Chiefs will be looking for their 5th win of the year after a rocky start to the season. They are coming off an off-season that saw them participate in their 3rd straight Super Bowl, and they lost that game to the Philadelphia Eagles after winning the previous 2 against Philadelphia and against San Francisco. I'm Gabe Liesi for BCIT's The Crow. Thank you for listening. To end off with a little bit of weather, sun and cloud again today. The high was 10 and the low was about 7. The rest of the week is due to bring more rain as well as into this weekend. Once again, I'm Gabe Liesi for BCIT's The Crow. Thank you on behalf of Elijah Ford and myself for participating and listening in all today. We look forward to speaking to you again in the coming days.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
I would recommend this program for anyone that isn't sure what kind of job they want in media, because you learn everything from like public relations to communications to video editing, like radio, TV. So you do get a lot of experience in all the different fields in media.